Hey everybody, welcome back to BeyondProfit, a global perspective, and I want to talk about public speaking. I have a lot of students who have asked me advice on how to give good presentations, and hey, I'm a teacher, I grade people on this stuff, and so a lot of times it's like, how do I get a good grade, right? And so that's something I want to talk about in a series of videos. And in this first video, gosh, there's so much to talk about, right? So, I just want to kind of break it up in little bits. So in the first video, really, I just want to talk about the structure of it. How do you organize a good presentation? And then we'll talk about some other things in other videos as well. As usual, I want to thank you for watching these videos. I hope that you find them helpful. Please like, subscribe to them, share them with other people, especially if you think they'll be helpful to others. Of course, I teach here at the University of St. Mary. I would encourage you to continue on with your education, but if it's something you're interested in doing with me, hey, you know where to find me. So let's get right to the subject. How do you organize and structure a presentation? All presentations, live or online, have a common structure, whether it's for business, academic, entertaining, whatever. So I'm going to talk about those components, not only because I think it would be good for you to keep this in mind when you're doing your presentation, right, but when you're doing any presentation in a program, or when you're doing a business presentation of any kind, these are the sorts of elements you should really include, okay? So, first of all, an introduction. This is the thing that students and many speakers, most business speakers know better, right? But students screw this up so many times where your natural inclination is to go up there and say, okay, so I'm going to talk about this today, and then you go straight into it, right? That is not the way you're supposed to do things, okay? When you're doing public speaking, you need to build rapport with your audience. You need to convince them that you're worth listening to. You have to give them a level of energy or something so that they know that you're, to build that rapport. If you don't have that rapport and you just like, okay, so now I'm going to do this speech on, moving my business from Morocco or whatever, it's like, well, I'm not that interested in Morocco and I'm not interested in business. So you lost me on both of them and I don't even know why I should listen, right? You got to explain to me, like, why do I care, right? Remember, whether you got a device in front of you or not, people are ready to swipe, okay? They're ready to click on to something else. And, that's just the way people are. So you got basically 30 seconds to a minute. If you got a 5-minute presentation, you may want to go 20 seconds to 30. But the thing is, you should spend a little bit of time building rapport with your audience, okay? It is one of the most important parts of a presentation. It is not just simply an introduction of what you're talking about. Or if it's a group presentation, it's not like, I'm Mark, this is Elle, this is Stu, today we're going to talk about this. No, I mean, like, you need to sort of get in there, right? It should get the audience's attention, build rapport with audience, make the audience believe that your topic is important, okay? Right? So part of that may be knowing your audience. I just made up the moving the business from Morocco idea. So knowing who my audience is to start off with will help, right? Is it a group of investors? Okay, great. So do you know anything about Morocco? I'm going to tell you about some of the business opportunities that are there. I mean, we can make some good money here. Very enthusiastic way. Connect with them based on, like, you're the investor. This is what I have to offer. Let's talk about this thing, man. Let's make this thing go. I don't know, you've got to do something to kind of get their attention and liven it up a little bit and connect with those people. The second part of your presentation should be a central purpose statement. Okay, this is one sentence. This is the thing that your presentation is about. Just like a thesis statement, you should be able to say it in one sentence, no more, no less, and by the time they've heard that sentence, then they know what it is. If this is a speech where you're making an argument, then it should be that argument. If it's an informative speech or something, then you should say yes, and this is the reason why we're talking about border collies today, right? And that's people know exactly what it is. So you're not starting with your central purpose statement, you're starting with an introduction, and then you're using that to say this is why you should pay attention to the main reason why I am here, right? If you have no central purpose statement, you have not clearly stated the reason you're presenting, like I said, it's like a thesis statement, and it may be persuasive or informative, which I've already said. Okay, body, that's the next part, right? It should be organized around the reasons and data to support the central purpose statement. Again, if this is something that's persuasive, or if this is something where you're testing a hypothesis and you're coming up with evidence to support it, right, then it should be like, here's the argument. The first reason you should buy the argument is this. Here's my evidence. Here's the second reason. Here's my evidence. Here's my third reason. Here's the evidence, right? And that's the structure of your speech, right? If it's an informative speech, then you're just like, okay, the first thing that is interesting about this, let me tell you about this, right? And then the next thing that is interesting about this, and now let me tell you about this, right? But it should be structured based on topics that support the main thing that you are trying to do. And then you've got a conclusion, okay? Now, you can create a more micro structure depending on the purpose of your speech. Like, we could talk more about that, but this is a good general approach to almost anything. So you do that, you come to the conclusion. I'll say once again, this is one of the most important parts of any presentation. Most of the time when I see people speak, particularly students speak, this is the end of their presentation. Thank you. Any questions? Okay? That's not a conclusion. Okay? A conclusion should be that closing 30 seconds or so where you're coming in and you're telling me why you proved your point, or why your thing is interesting, or why you all should care, right? Like, you were selling it at the beginning, you got to sell it at the end. You got to make it so, like, when they go to bed that night, they're still, like, thinking about that thing that you talked about because you did such a good job at your conclusion that they were actually like, whoa, I never thought about that before. Wow, okay, I can't quite sleep. I'm thinking about their presentation, right? Maybe exaggerating, but not that much, okay? When you're doing a good job, you're giving them something to think about that's beyond the experience right here. Tomorrow, they're going to, like, hang out. They're like, oh, yeah, that person, right. Well, I'm going to talk to my spouse about that. That was kind of interesting, okay? So you want to carry that beyond the experience that you're having right now. Cool? So that's really it. That's your presentation. You can do that for any kind of business situation, right? Or academic situation. That works. So that's it. That's how you put a speech together. First, you need an introduction in which you're getting people's attention and getting them to care about you so they'll start listening, right? And then you go into the central purpose statement where you're telling people what your speech is about or what your argument is. Then you have a well-structured body in which you have specific points you want to try to make, and then the evidence that you have or the experiences that you're sharing, the information, supports the structure of those various points. And then you close it out with something that allows them to remember, in the long term anyway, whatever message it is that you want them to carry away with them. So I hope this was very helpful for you as far as trying to put your speech together. If you have any questions, please leave comments, ask questions below. I would love to be able to help you. Good luck on your presentations.